the Bucks twice in the last few days. They lost in Golden State. Giannis didn't play in that game. And then Giannis did come back, scored 46. I mean, you tell me how it looked to you personally. I think Giannis didn't even go all the way to the floor in terms of he had more in reserve he needed to in that game. And the Bucks just, to me, they are playing the best basketball in the league. And it happens to coincide on the same night where the Celtics lose in Houston. And they've lost 4 of 6. Celtics are banged up right now. You know, Marcus Smart, since he's come back from his injury, hasn't quite played at the same level that we've gotten used to seeing Marcus Smart. Robert Williams is out right now with a hamstring injury. And, you know, anytime Robert Williams is out, the Celtics are less than. You know, Jaylen Brown put up 43 in that game in Houston. Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. had miserable shooting nights. I didn't see any of that game. I don't even understand how Houston won because their 2 guards shot something like 13 of 45. It may not be exactly that number, but it was close to it. And somehow they beat the Celtics on a night when Jaylen Brown had 43. The Celtics are not at their best right now. And I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment and just talk about a certain week in March, because the Celtics, there have been times where they've looked great. But the Bucks are coming through this West Coast trip. And if Boston can't make up ground, because Boston is on a long trip right now too, you know, if they're not able to make up ground, the schedule doesn't favor them. I mean, Milwaukee is going to probably get into that 1. And that 1 is a huge difference because you avoid being on the same side as Philly. And I think Milwaukee is just, as the season goes along, as Middleton strengthens, as Joe Ingles has strengthened coming off his injury, they look like the team to beat to me. Not by a huge amount, but in the whole league, Spears. I don't know what you feel after watching this.
No, I agree with you. Like what I saw last night in Sacramento was just dominant. Like Giannis just looked like really a man among boys. It was just too easy. I mean, like, think about it. He had 46 points in 34 minutes, Brian.
I'm telling you, if he had really had to, he might have been able to go to 60 without really going quiet last night. Yeah.
And I think the best thing that happened for the Bucks is like Chris Middleton finally was Chris Middleton again. 31 points, first time he's reached 30 this season. I mean, he made 5 threes. He looked like the all-star he was, right? I think that was a tremendous big sign for them. You know, that, okay, whatever, like he might have finally broken through this season at the right time, right? And even Drew Holiday didn't have a great game. And I think also Brook Lopez showed a lot, right? In terms of sometimes I think we forget. You know what? We
almost got in a fight in the last minute of the game.
Oh yeah, well there's that part too, and I'll get there. But I sometimes forget how good he is. Right?
I didn't like this. They signed him to this 3-year, $55 million contract or something like that. He's at the end of it now. I was like, whoa. And when they signed him, I was like, that's aggressive for a guy that age. But it's a bargain. It's a bargain.
He had 23 points, 4 threes against Sacramento. And then I love that he had Giannis's back. And what I also like about it is your star can't fight. You don't need your star fighting, man. The dude's wrist is messed up as it is, right? And I love that he stuck up for him and made it known that this is not somebody you mess with, because you know I love when I see that. So like they just look like if they, you know, and they didn't go deep into their bench, but their bench knows their role. Like Jake Crowder looks like a great, you know, addition for them, but he just knows his role. Bobby Portis, you know what he could bring them offensively. So I don't see them going that deep on their bench, but man, that starting 5, man, it's just, they're good, man. They're really, really good.
So what happened at the end of the game, they were dribbling it out. It was the last 15 seconds. They're up 7 or 8, whatever it was. The Bucks have the ball. Giannis has it. Trey Lyles comes over, and Giannis is dribbling it out.
Well, Giannis also, I think the Kings thought he was trolling a little bit because he was like dribbling all slow, and then they felt like I think it was being a little sensitive.
Fair
but
enough.
like he dribbled in front of Lyles, and I think Mike has been on them about being tougher. In fact, he thought that the Bucks kind of beat them up in Milwaukee, so I think that's in their head too. And they didn't get to light the beam, right? Like you're not going to get to light the beam.
The beam was closed for the night.
But Lyles kind of surprised me
yeah.
with that. Like that was a little extra.
He might get he could get suspended, or he's going to get because he just sort of tried to steal the ball from Giannis and kind of bumped him, and I think they called a foul.
But he shoved him.
Yeah, well,
the shove was like, what? Huh?
Yeah, then he shoved him, and then Lopez came in, and he kind of, I didn't like study the frame by frame. He kind of went after.
Grabbed him first.
Yes, Lyles grabbed Brook first, but Brook stepped in, say, "Get away from my MVP," and then I don't want to say Lyles grabbed him by the neck, but it kind of looked like he put his hands up near his head.
No, he grabbed his neck.
Okay, good. I didn't want to say that.
No, he grabbed his neck. I watched the replay a couple times. He grabbed his neck, and then Brook grabbed his head, and
yep.
And they were
they
on
both
the
got
scores
ejected.
table too. And
they would,
and Brian and Kevin answer me this: like, can people get in trouble for hitting the scores table? Is that like going into the stands? Could there be some extra punishment there for that?
I don't know. I just know that you shouldn't be grabbing guys by the neck.
Yeah.
So he's either going to get suspended or he's going to get a slap fine for that because, and then they both got ejected and Brook kind of was really being demonstrative. I know Brook a little bit. He's been around the league for 15 years. He's obviously a pretty mild-mannered guy. I mean, he can play with edge, but he's a mild-mannered guy. So to see him so fiery, and I know that's happened a couple times, but I've never really seen him that angry.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to almost take him seriously because I know how much of a kind of an easygoing guy he is, but he was really, you could see it in his eyes.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.